It's Radio 2, and a huge warm welcome now to Ed and Phil. Is it Phil or Philip? I don't know whether I've been misadvised on how to address you, sir.
Either way, I think of myself as Philip, but I'll respond to anything that's polite.
If I just say oi, maybe you just respond to that.
Yeah, maybe I'll look at my tea then.
How are you both?
Very well.
Very well, thank you. Yes, good.
So it's Dublin. You played Dublin a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And how was that gig?
Dublin was a wonderful audience. You know, they sing their hearts out, and it's funny because Ireland was the first place that really within Europe embraced us, and it was the first place we did big shows as well. So there's always been, I think they feel like we're one of them. You know, so it was great, wasn't it?
And that feeling's reciprocated.
Yeah, it's special. Them. It's very special. I mean, we don't play there enough.
No,
we don't deserve that warmth.
What do you do when you have days off when you're in a city? Because quite often you're like a tourist, aren't you? When you're a band on tour, you get to spend a day in somewhere you've never been before, or revisit somewhere.
Shamefully, I just caught up on sleep on that.
Is that what it's all about?
And I had an O'Brien reunion. I've got a lot of family from Tipperary who now live in Dublin, so about 20 of us descended on and that's about a quarter of the family. I ended up in a bar in Temple Bar, and I just left very quietly at 10:15, said my goodbyes, because
it's why we have such big audiences in Ireland.
It's the O'Brien family.
Well, in the early days, they used to literally do a festival, and cousins would turn up from all over the country, and they wouldn't have a ticket, and they go, "My cousin's playing up there," and sorry for the bad Irish accent, and they'd be let in. So there's a lot of that going on there as well. Yeah. Sorry about that really bad accent.
Oh, we can get through the whole range of them.
Yeah. So you have no fans left in Ireland at all. You just wipe them
sorry,
out completely.
Irish. Good people of Ireland.
The set list that people in Dublin will have seen, is that the set list that we will be seeing when it comes to Glastonbury Festival? How do you work with the set list? Okay. Is it literally decided hours before you go on stage, or do you know what you're doing yet at Glastonbury?
We might do.
Yeah.
But generally, for most of the set lists, we will sit down on the afternoon of the show. So it's Ed, Tom and myself, and we will just see what feels appropriate to the day, feels appropriate to the venue, and I must admit we have actually
we've done
this one in advance.
It's a big list.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's an important list.
It's made me laugh how there's all this speculation about what songs you might do and how long the set's going. And when it was announced you were doing 2.5 hours, and there was all this kind of like, hurrah, 2.5 hours. It's almost like you win because you've got the most time to be playing. Foo Fighters have only got 2 hours and 15 minutes. Oh dear.
Really? Oh God! I hope we filled 2.5. We didn't know. We thought we've got 2. We've been told 2 hours.
We'll have to go back to the set list now.
We'll do a Cure epic kind of.
Audience requests, or
Do you know what I love? When was it? Was it 6 years ago? Queens of the Stone Age headlined the other stage on the Sunday night, and they were playing at the same time as Beyonce. And I went to check out Beyonce, and I was really going there to love it, and I just, for whatever reason, wasn't feeling it. And I walked over to the Queen's stage, and it was extraordinary, beyond belief. And what I found out is that they'd got their fans to request their favourite songs for the set, and they'd done the set according to that. I thought, and it was extraordinary.
Smart.
You can feel the love going both ways. It was amazing.
Was that the Glastonbury when I saw you late in the night? I think it possibly was.
Probably. Skull emerging from Shangri-La or something.
Yeah, drunk on Queens of the Stone Age. I think it was.
Exactly drunk on Queens of the Stone Age.
Let's play a track. We've had your album as Vinyl Revival all this week, so we'll play something. If you can just explain to us why you have done this, when the creative juices are obviously flowing with Moonshaped Pool, why you have decided to do this anniversary release?
Well, we kind of reconnected with our archive on the material. We've got our back catalogue back at Excel, and so that allowed us to go back into the archives, come across loads of old demos, loads of like outtakes from the sessions, and actually revisit songs which didn't make the final track listing at the time, which you come back to them and listen to them now and think, oh, okay.
Not as bad as I thought.
Maybe missed a trick there. But, so it's great because it allows them to have their day as well. So gives the fuller picture of the record, I think.
And how's the experience been of reliving this, going back 20 years and revisiting these songs and the memories? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, it's not the most natural state. It's funny, like with music, how we all have associations with songs, don't we? And that's the magic about music, isn't it? Like you hear a track or a song you haven't heard that you loved, and it takes you back to how you felt at that time. That's kind of the magic of music. So there's certainly a sense of hearing those songs again, and it was very much of that time, and so much of it is where we were sort of in this bubble and all these things, and a band that was on the ascendancy, we were sort of going up. And for instance, I have very strong memories of when we came in and did your show, and we did it live from Golders Green, the BBC Theatre there. And I remember that day, it was your 30th birthday. We gave you your birthday present and all these
birthday
things.
So and everything.
Exactly. So all these memories of those tracks are ingrained in that time, and then it was a really magic time, because we were kids, and these are dreams that we hadn't stopped. You see, we'd been signed at the end of 91. We didn't stop until 98, literally. So we just kept on doing it, and this thing kept on playing to more people, and we got more musical equipment, and we rehearsed more and played, and all this stuff was happening. And there's a certain kind of dreamlike, I always think of it as kind of a dreamlike state almost. You're kind of going through it, and it was a magic time. It was also quite a stressful time.
I'm sure it was, because as you say, you were kids.
We were kids, and we were quite tricky as well.
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, of course not.
Maybe not you two.
I think we asked for that one.
Let's play a track from the album. This is one of the ones that didn't make the album, and this is Man of War. Tell me a little bit about this, if you can.
Man of War, it was a song which we had hanging around for quite a while, even by the time we got to OK Computer. We went into the beginning of 1996. How many 90s were in there? We went into Chipping Norton Studios with Nigel Godrich just to do the initial demos. And we did a version of Lift. We did a version of Nude, even, which then took, another decade to appear anywhere. And also we did this version of Man of War. And, we got to the track listing stage of OK Computer, and there was just some tracks, which ones, you get on this now, which just didn't feel right in the context of as the collection of songs, and so they fell by the wayside. But it's been one of those songs there, it's known it's been there on the shelf all that time. It's just been very frustrating not for it not to find its place, and so to actually get I Promise out, Man of War, Lift, finally, just does feel a little bit of a weight's lifted on that.
Not many bands can say that. It's quite a unique situation to be in, isn't it? And a lovely situation to be in, to unleash these songs upon the world. Let's play them, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll play Man of War. It's Man of War from Radiohead, and we've got Ed and Philip from the band with us, right?
Oi!
Sir Philip, as I now call him. So you were saying how it was a magical time when the album came out. So this must have been a very nice feeling, going back and rediscovering it.
Yeah,
so
magic in terms of... Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Sorry, I should also... It was also very stressful.
What was stressful?
I think that everything within the band at the time had to have some form of a struggle. Don't you think?
Yeah.
There had to be a struggle, whether there was a struggle or not. So we would go collectively looking for a struggle. And sometimes that's good and it's galvanizing. But other times it's just like, oh, come on, we're in Barcelona now. Let's just chill. I tell you what, we were very uptight. That was the thing. And I think we learned probably in Rainbows was the first time we it's almost like shedding a skin. You kind of... and breathe. Whereas then we were like, it was for real. It was authentic, and the music, and it was every night was like, you live and die by that gig. And it's not that it doesn't change, but what in terms of you do your best now, but it's just like, we're not going to beat ourselves up now if it's not the greatest show. Sometimes it's out of your hands, but then it was, you live and die by your last record, by what you do. There's a magic to that. There's a real high, but it's not a very, it's big swings, isn't it? Highs and lows, and
it's not good for you.
It's
Your
not
mental
good for
state
you.
is
No,
really
it's
not.
really not good for you. It's really not good for you.
I think as well at the time, that snakes and ladders feeling to it, didn't it? Where suddenly we'd gone up about 2 or 3 rows of on there in our, well, I can't speak for us all, but it felt as though our heads were still very much that band which was signed. You suddenly feel at points quite out of your depth, so you're really holding on tight so that you don't show yourself up.
Did you have anyone who was helping you? There must have been other musicians, other bands who'd been in a similar situation to give you advice, or was there nobody? Was it just the band together, struggling?
Actually, there's been one band who were just so generous to us. It's when we went out with the Bends, we opened up for REM,
Yeah.
and they were incredible.
Michael Stipe is quite a lot of wisdom, I guess.
Yeah, but
all of them.
All of them, actually.
And they were really generous. They gave us license to go like, it's okay to be successful, because I think we struggled with that. We still came from a sort of an indie kind of ethic, if you like, and success was sort of somehow you were denigrating your art. And they were like, no, it's okay. But we didn't have anyone to say... I'd be brutally frank about this. I thought, as a band, that we were one of the...
It's going to be true confessions here about what you thought about me.
One of the things I think that we had was that we thought, we're all insecure people. And one of the things, personally, I thought, if I'm in this great band, we'd make a great record and all my insecurities will die away, and you get to the certain... And it's that kind of thing, if you get wealth or fame, blah, blah, you think you're going to be happy. And I remember at the end of OK Computer, like, we were in this extraordinary position, and I was depressed. And I was depressed for a very long time, because it was suddenly that realisation that, oh, hang on a sec, all this stuff makes no difference to how you feel about yourself. I know, personally, there was so much riding on, like, if we get there, fine, I'll be happy, blah, blah, blah. It felt like there was so much riding on it. And that was one of the problems about it, was that we have to do that. We're not going to stop until we've got there,
And how long did that go on for? So you were seriously depressed?
Yeah, I was depressed for a good, a good year. And it sort of eased off, but it was that thing that when you get there, you think you have all the answers. You think, this is it, I'm going to be happy. And then you're going like, well, I'm really not happy now, and I've got all this. I've got a house I live in. It's a classic situation, but it was an amazing situation because, the magic or the kind of dreamlike state. That's part of it. Almost like felt like you're in a bubble going through it, and maybe not interacting with it in a way that was appreciating the moment and enjoying for it. It was all about when I get there, all will be well. And
yet the emptiness is still there.
And I think
does that go for the rest of the band
I think there was a lot of that. I think we all, I don't know about you, but I know that talking
Phil's looking at you like, I'm trying to read your mind. What are you thinking?
Have I I've said too much.
No, not at all.
Phil, can you relate to that?
There was a sense. I think during that period, as you're saying, there was an incredible focus. And so with that came a slight detachment. Although not in the shows. The shows were very heartfelt.
Oh, very. And that was the only moment, wasn't it? The whole thing where you're completely and utterly present, and it was the part that you could feel you could be your true self,
Absolutely.
wasn't it?
And then we got to the end of touring OK Computer, and we had the luxury of being able to take 6 months off. But actually, that was a very difficult time.
Yeah.
Taking the time off, yeah.
Yeah, because all the structure, you have a very rigid structure when you're touring, and, you kind of go into freefall a little bit.
Yeah, that was exactly it.
It was good. I think we needed to do that because I don't think we'd been able to take stock of everything that had happened from, we started the band at school. By the time we took that time off, it was like a decade after we'd started. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff to process.
And how did you, because I'd imagine the rest of the band were feeling exactly the same way, so you were probably little islands.
Totally. And being classic bloke, Philip and I have always spoken, and we'd been living very intensely together, and then we had this time off, and we were still all in Oxford. It's that thing, you don't know how to talk about it, and you think, you feel guilty about feeling crap. You can go to the supermarket and buy anything. You can buy all the organic produce and not worry about the price of it or whatever. First world problems. I shouldn't be feeling crap. But you
can't escape the fact that you are. I think Dave Stewart, I seem to remember, called it the Paradise Syndrome.
Right.
And everyone laughed at him when he said, this will be decades ago.
Yeah.
But he said exactly what you're saying.
Well, I think
now.
they all. It's interesting. I saw the George Harrison documentary recent, the Scorsese one, and he said the same thing. You look for happiness, and all of that doesn't come from the things externally. It's an internal thing. The external stuff can really help.
Of course.
Of course. I'm really thankful for the time, but it was all bound up in that. And OK Computer.
So when did you get happy? How did you all get your acts together?
Yesterday.
Yeah. Are you still searching? We're all searching, aren't we? Basically.
No. Having a family that sorts your stuff out, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Right, let's play another track. We'll play Lift. It's Lift from the re-release of OK Computer, and I'm talking to Ed and to Philip from the band at the moment. We do the gig diaries. We just go back and try and tease some memories out from you. So remind me about a gig that you did when nobody showed up.
Princess Charlotte in Leicester. And
Talk me through it.
I think it was one of our first tours. We think we'd just been signed, and I think we had our manager there.
There was a dog there. There were 5 people and a dog.
Literally,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Literally.
And it was the first night we ever played Creep. We were very aware as well that we weren't one of those bands as well that would go on in a strop if only 5 people were there. We were like, no, those people have got to leave. So
Integrity.
we were quite earnest about.
But we did have one show at Bath Moles. This was just after
Oh,
we
yeah.
recorded Pablo Honey. It started fairly full, but by the end, it was practically empty. And even our managers disowned us on
Yeah.
that show.
Why?
We were just shocking.
We were awful.
We
thought we were pretty cocky. We just made our first record, yeah, right. And it's funny because it's a bit like our managers were like Judas. Someone said to them, "Do you know this band?" To our managers, and they go, "No idea." They're rubbish.
What about the gig where someone incredibly significant showed up? It's kind of a ridiculous question to put to you, but there must have been a show that you did when you were told someone was in the audience or you were aware, and it freaked you out.
Easy one there. Get sentimental again. It's the Leicester Princess Charlotte show again, and that's my future wife was there.
Oh, there you go.
And for you, Ed?
Probably the first REM show we did with them, which was the Milton Keynes. And we were on yeah, you were there. We were on the bill, and we'd been invited, and the Bends had, I think, just been released, and we were really, really seeking validation. We weren't really, people kind of in this country say they're still one-hit wonders, just got one song. My father was one of those. And the rest is rubbish. The fact that they picked us for their album to play that and also to go and play Europe, and then because we did so well, we got to do the American tour with them as well. So that was a big thing, that they were there and they were watching and they liked us, and they were like our big brothers. As Philip says, we cannot stress how important that band were and how kind and generous and kind of showed us a way.
Are they still part of your lives now?
Yeah, we saw Peter in the last tour. He came along, he's looking great. And Michael pops up. Bill, obviously, we haven't seen, but he was really lovely as well. And Mike sometimes comes along in LA. And you know what was really nice? They were really happy for our success, which you sometimes don't get.
Everyone else just
Other
bitter and
people.
snidey.
Yeah, it was kind of like, we can all be there, part of it. So that was kind of nice.
You're just grateful, really, that
Yeah.
someone threw you a bone.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the gig that has meant the most to you, has the most emotional resonance.
Gig that sticks out for me most in terms of actually having that sense of, we put it out there and people respond. Coming back to the whole thing of being an island, it was the Galway Festival. I just remember it was a big field, but just seeing that wave of emotion going back through the audience. I think that's the first time I'd kind of seen it on that scale. And just having that sense of there was a real connection with the audience. And that's for one for me initially. I mean,
Yeah. And Ed, for you?
The obvious one is to say 97 in Glastonbury. I think the repercussions of that were extraordinary. I mean, in terms of the impact on stage, it was impossible to fathom that.
You've described that as the worst night of your life. You said it turned out to be the worst night of our lives.
Well,
Drama queen?
Yeah, probably drama
yeah.
queen. I mean, obviously it wasn't. It was like a form of hell, because we were doing something that was a dream. To play Pyramid Stage on a Saturday night, it doesn't get better than that. To find yourself in the situation whereby it felt like we were in crisis mode. The equipment failure was happening. Trying to keep all members on stage, people not walking off, all of that stuff. And it was like, this should be a heaven, but actually this is a kind of a hell. That's part of it. Maybe that somehow galvanized us to just, one of those moments. So,
was it true that Tom turned to you at one point and said, I'm leaving the stage?
he came over and he just said, I'm leaving now. It was literally like a song by song. It was like, let's just do Just. And I remember that. I remember saying, let's just do Just. Let's see how we feel. Even just the minutest bit of positivity or feedback you get makes a difference, and you've reached the lowest point. That was better than the last one, wasn't it? All right, And it was that thing, and it was carrying on, and it was a nightmare for him because, he's the lead singer. He has to really interface with the audience. And he can't see anything. He can't hear himself. We can't hear ourselves, but it's one thing for us, but it's another thing for him. One of our strengths, with all our neuroses, and what one of our strengths are, we were a proper tight unit and we were a real band. And I think what was great about that night is we drew upon that. We were tight and there was a lot of love between us and there was a lot of strength in the unit. And that's what sustained us through that and kind of overcome the technical nonsense.
What happened the second you walked off, the minutes you walked off? Did you all go in different directions? Did you all get into a coach together? Do you remember what happened?
I just remember us all ending up in the porter cabin backstage and just all looking a little bit shell-shocked.
Yeah, like we lost it.
And people start coming back very tentatively, poking their heads into the dressing room and saying, that went pretty well, actually. And it's like, no, it didn't. No, it was the worst we've ever played.
Yeah.
I think it took a little while to thaw out after that show. With hindsight, you look back and can see that it was a very significant show for us. At that stage, we had no idea of that. You know, sitting there thinking, well, that's our musical output down the pan.
Did you really believe that?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what's interesting, and, you know, I don't want to get all hippie-ish, but I think that sometimes things happen on that pyramid stage. One of my friends, his dad, helped Michael Eavis set up. There's some interesting stuff about how that stage is aligned. I don't know if you know, and I don't know about this, but I think sometimes we've all witnessed performances on that stage where something else happens. It's almost like it's out of your hands. There's a power there. There's something about the festival anyway that's extraordinary that we all know. And I think there's something about the pyramid stage. There's something that extra comes in or something.
Yeah, and you know that that festival means so much to so many people. Connect with it on a personal level in a way that they don't with other festivals, I think.
Let's play a track. Let's play another bit of music.
Yeah.
Is there a band anthem? Is there one song that, not when you're all on the coach together leaving to go somewhere, that you're singing along to, but is there a song that you all absolutely love that we can play? Is anything spring to mind? Is there an REM track, or is it Monty
sing
Python?
along on a Radiohead coach.
Always look on the bright side.
Every show, Joe.
Always look on the bright side of life, something like that.
There is a track. It's from the OK Computer touring, and we had on the nights when we pull out of town, we had a driver called BJ. And he just used to put his stereo on so loud, and you'd be going down. And was it Two Tribes or Relax?
He put on Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, the whole album. And yeah, so you put on Two Tribes, and we were like, of course we hadn't heard it since then, we were like, whoa! This sounds ace.
All right, this is Radiohead's
Two Tribes.
anthem, Two Tribes.
Attack warning sounds like.
It's Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Bizarrely, and Two Tribes, the choice of Radiohead of Ed and Phil. Finally, how are you feeling about playing the gig on a Friday night, Glastonbury? We've just talked about how extraordinarily special it is for so many people. How are you feeling?
Really looking forward to it. It's kind of been, in some ways, a focus of the year. It's Glastonbury, and can't really say more than that, so yeah.
Yeah.
Ed?
The nerves started when we started this leg at the beginning of June. We all kind of fessed up and going, and I'm feeling Glastonbury. Oh, yeah. So there'll be nerves, but it feels good. We've done the set list. It feels like we've done the best preparation we possibly could. We're in the best frame of mind. All we've got to do is do the songs, and hopefully it'll be a great night for all of us. It's just such a privilege to be doing this. To be able to do it again, I thought 2003 might be our last time. We weren't in the best place as a band, and it wasn't a good set, and to leave it like that wouldn't be, but to be able to chance to another set and to try and, redress that and really do a load of songs for everyone out there. So yeah,
that feeling when you're there on that stage, Glastonbury Pyramid stage, Friday night, when people are singing your songs to you, that's going to be great.
I just really want to be able to enjoy it. You know, I think times are very challenging. Glastonbury feels like it's more important than ever. It's a big love fest, isn't it? There's so much love. And so to be able to actually be on stage and to interact, that's such a... If we can enjoy that moment and really feel it, and I think we will, because I think we're in a different place now.
Yeah. And Tom is as well. Tom seems to be extraordinarily happy.
Everyone's really... Tom's in a great place, and it feels very real,
Important as well, I think, this. I hope you savour and cherish every single second that you're there on stage. I cannot wait to see you. So thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.